let's focus in now. We're taking another look at the data here. You just heard it. The Associated Press has called a winner in the race for Justice of the Georgia Supreme Court, Andrew Pinson, sealing his victory here over former Democratic Congressman John Barrow. We have our panelists here, Howard Franklin, Mark Roundtree, both veteran political strategists. We've been talking about the Supreme Court race all day. We had a graphic back up. Let's just talk through the numbers very briefly. Pinson getting that race called with 56% of the vote. Total votes cast, roughly 876,000. Pinson's got a little shy of 500,000 of them. John Barrow just shy of 400,000. Mark, you, when you were looking at these numbers, mentioned that you were surprised it has been called already. What made you say that?
Well, I don't know how much of the, I don't know why whoever called it. Sure. So I don't know that. I'm just looking at the map itself. I don't know if you can show it on the screen. It is interesting that the partisan overtones of the race, even though it is a nonpartisan race, are still there. You've got Fulton and DeKalb, where Barrow, who is a Democrat, historically he was a Democratic congressman, it's no secret, is doing well and is leading in those areas. He's doing well in Savannah, Chatham County, which is a Democratic county. He's doing well in Richmond County, Augusta-Richmond County, a Democratic county. So, and the Republican, Andrew Pinson, even though it's a nonpartisan race, like I mentioned, he is performing very well in these other counties outside of that. So the Republican areas seem to be trending for Pinson. The Democratic areas seem to be trending for Barrow.
You know what's interesting about this race? We saw Governor Kemp, who appointed Pinson in 2021, actually put out a commercial for him.
And spent some serious money on it, too.
Spent some serious, I think, $500,000?
Several $100,000.
I think so.
Yes.
And he didn't call out Barrow per se in that commercial, but he said that he basically you want to pick somebody that's going to put partisan politics aside, and I think it was a nod to Barrow because we knew that he was a congressman for so long and he was campaigning on abortion as an issue to try to drive people to vote. Howard, I want to direct this question to you. Do you think that we're seeing it's not like Pinson had a landslide victory here? Barrow still took 43, almost 44% of the vote, looking at the votes that have been tallied so far. Did this campaigning on abortion work?
It's hard to say at this early stage. I think Mark alluded to this, and he mentioned some of the counties where Barrow did really well, but we got to keep reminding your viewers that Barrow has represented Athens, Clark County, he's represented Augusta. He's moved all over the state to hold on to his seat. How many of those voters remember John Barrow, who hasn't served in elected office for quite some time, is a question. But also worth noting, he did push Brad Raffensperger into a runoff when they first had their battle for the Secretary of State's race some 6 or 8 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. So worth noting, I think he is a very strong campaigner. I don't know, it's so hard to draw inferences from these nonpartisan races where there's overtones, right, or where you get certain endorsements. I'd be willing to bet that most of the folks who were not from the parts of the state that we've talked about here, not deeply entrenched in blue metro Atlanta, probably don't know a whole lot about how either of these candidates would shake out. So we can't overlook the power of the eye, right? Incumbency still means something. And if you don't know a whole lot about either of these folks, it's easy just to check the eye.
And that was the other thing. We talk about these races. Obviously, all of us here, we are tuned in. A lot of people who have gone out to cast their ballot, we were talking about off air, are those who are very tuned in as well. But when you look at the majority of Georgians, before Kemp put out that commercial, Barrow's name was probably a lot more recognizable.
He's
right?
on television. Yeah.
No, go ahead, Mark.
It is interesting. If you isolate how many people voted today or early in a Republican primary versus the Democratic primary for the 2024 general primary, around 53% of people will have chosen the Republican primary ballot, and around 47% will have chosen the Democratic primary ballot if you take out the nonpartisan voters. But with that being said, he's winning 56% of the vote. So it doesn't translate where Pinson has necessarily won all of the Republicans, but he's winning more Democrats than he probably should be winning if Barrow were to have a chance. So he's carrying 56% of the vote currently, whereas 53% of the voters were self-described Republicans.
It's very interesting there too as well.